everyone! So today we are continuing on our cleaning and organizing journey, and I am taking you with me into the kitchen where we are going to get into the cabinets, empty everything out, and do a bunch of decluttering and organizing and deep clean of the kitchen area. So we are going to be doing a full-on kitchen cleaning extravaganza. Before we get into it, I first wanted to mention the sponsor for today's video, since I've mentioned before that as I'm cleaning and organizing, I like to have something on in the background or watch something in the meantime, have something up on my phone or on my TV or something to keep me company. So today's video is sponsored by Shudder. And if you haven't heard me talk about Shudder before here on my channel, it's one of my favorite things in the whole world. Shudder is a horror and thriller video streaming service. So basically a streaming service for all things spooky. They have anything from blockbuster hits to their own Shudder exclusives like Color Out of Space, Host, Revenge, the Mortuary Collection, Creepshow television series. They even have a ghoul log, which instead of a Yule log, like a log, it's a jack-o'-lantern with a little flame inside, but they have a couple different versions. I don't know, there's something about a clean house and maybe a beverage in there. A good old ghoul log going in the background. Shudder is $5.99 a month or $56.99 a year, but you could try it right now free for 30 days if you go to www.shudder.com and enter promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E. And then once you sign up on the website, you can stream unlimited spooky content on your Android or iOS devices, Xbox One, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and Google Chromecast. I personally usually stream from my Apple TV and I love the interface, but also as I'm cleaning and organizing, if I'm in an area where I can't see my TV or I don't have one near me, I just stream right from my phone, and I love it because I can just stay in little areas and still have it or hear it and have it on. I gotta tell you, my favorite thing about Shudder is, well, first of all, I love the ghoul log. The ghoul log is where it's at for me. I've not seen anything quite like it out there, so I do love the ghoul log, but I also just love the Shudder exclusives, the horror content that you can't find anywhere else. And it's something my husband and I have talked about that we end up bringing up randomly when we're talking about different horror movies with friends or family members. I'm like, oh, did you see Revenge? Or did you see Summer of '84? And people are like, I haven't even heard of that. And we're like, oh man, you have to get Shudder. You have to watch these exclusives. They're so good. So those are just a couple of my personal favorite things about Shudder. But anyways, once again, if you want to try Shudder free for 30 days, you can go to www.shudder.com and enter promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E. Anyways, love Shudder. You gotta try it if you haven't tried it yet, and let me know what you think down in the comments. All right, so moving on to our kitchen clean out extravaganza. We're doing it, we're getting in there. Also, just a heads up, I like to do a whole voiceover situation and talk through the whole process. So how I organize, how I clean, any tips and tricks I've picked up along the way. And I'm not telling you how to clean, and I'm not saying this is the way to do it or the only way to do it. So you may do things differently, and that's great too. I'm just on my journey and finding my way. But if you're not into the whole voiceover situation, you can of course hit the mute button, play whatever music you want to play, or maybe turn on Shudder and just watch me clean and organize in turbo mode and show you everything, the whole process. So if you like a good before and after, or you just like watching people clean and organize and maybe it inspires you, I make sure I include a lot of the footage so you can get your fill of cleaning and organizing motivation. So hopefully it helps. Anyways, now that I've babbled on forever, as I always do, let's get into our kitchen cleaning extravaganza. Let's do it. All right, so the first place I'm going to start in my kitchen is the very tippy top of everything, which is the top of the cabinets. I'm going to go up and dust off the top of my cabinets and also get any cobwebs while I'm up there. And I'm using my handy dandy Dyson handheld vac because this is my favorite way to dust, especially on top of cabinets that can get a little bit especially in kitchens, they can get a little bit oily up here or a little bit sticky, like the dust kind of sticks. So I go in with the brush attachment and it kind of scrubs it off. And then I can go in and spray or use a little dish soap and get the rest clean. All right, moving on to my upper cabinets, and I don't think I mentioned this when I was just working on above my cabinet area and the ceiling area, or, you know, cobweb area, but I like to work from the ceiling to the floor, like from the top down. So I did above my cabinets, now I'm doing the upper cabinets, then I'll do the drawers, and then I'll do all the lower cabinets. That way any cobwebs or dust or crumbs can all fall down to the floor. And then the floor is the final thing I do, so I won't have to go back in and dust anything or find crumbs anywhere or anything like that. And then I do the same thing inside the cabinets. So here I'm taking everything out, so I don't do that in any particular order. But then you'll see when I go to dust the shelves that I start from the top and I work my way down. And for this, I think I was just using a little Swiffer duster to dust the shelves. But if there are bigger pieces, or if I really need a brush attachment to get into corners, I will use my little handheld vacuum. And then I go in with a damp rag with a little bit of Dawn dish soap. And I like the Dawn dish soap for anywhere around the stove area. Like this cabinet is right by the stove, so the cabinet door, that kind of thing, can get a little bit oily. So the Dawn dish soap really helps break that down. So that's why I use that over sprays or anything else. I just feel like it breaks it down better. And then I follow up with a dry rag and make sure everything is nice and dried off. And it's not necessary because I mean, my rag isn't super damp, except for the areas that have a little extra, like you'll see my cabinet doors. I will go in with a little bit of extra Dawn dish soap and a little bit more water to make sure I get off any fingerprints or any food or drips or any grimy areas. Sometimes the cabinet doors just need a little bit of an extra boost. And then I go in with a dry rag and just dry everything off, because the thing about black cabinets, I love them, but they do show water spots really easily. So I just always make sure I dry it off, even though I'm not using a super wet rag. All right, so next I'm going in and filling in any dings, any of my cabinet dings, I guess is what I call them, or chips or whatever, with this black paint pen. I found this at Michael's. It's just a generic black paint pen, but it ended up matching my cabinets really well. I tested it first in an area that you wouldn't even be able to tell if it didn't match. But I know they have all different types of pens for different wood stains and paint colors and all that kind of stuff that's specifically for cabinets. I just couldn't find the match for me, but this one worked perfectly. And I was using a black permanent marker for a long time because it matched color-wise, but it didn't last. So this definitely has helped and changed the way my cabinets look. They look so refreshed and brand new. All right, so now that I've jabbed my jaws officially, I'm just putting everything back into this cabinet, which is more of my, I've got some candles in here. I've got some mixing bowls, some condiment bowls, and then some baking stuff. So sprinkles, cupcake liners, and some silicone molds. Also a storage container with some food coloring and some piping bags and piping tips. So here's the before and here is the after. It looks nice and refreshed and clean and organized for now until next year. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna try to keep it like this. Moving on to my water bottle cabinet, or water bottle and tumbler cabinet. I'm just doing the same thing here as I did in the last cabinet. I'm just taking everything out and wiping everything down, getting it all nice and clean. And I mentioned it in my last kitchen cleaning video that I kept way too many water bottles and tumblers, and I was really going to start paying attention to what I used and what I didn't. So I did pay attention to that. So I kind of sorted through everything and kind of looked at like items. So I put all my tumblers together, coffee cups together, water bottles together, and kind of determined from there what I had used and what I didn't use. And then from there, I started putting them back in the cabinet, and I kind of play around with just different things until I get a good fit. So I decided to put all my coffee cups on the left-hand side, closer to my coffee maker, and all of my tumblers on the right-hand side, which is closer to my refrigerator water area. All right, moving on to my favorite cabinet of life, which is my spooky coffee cabinet where I have all my spooky mugs. So I'm just emptying everything out, wiping everything down like I did before, and getting everything nice and clean. And with this cabinet, it is a struggle because I love all of my spooky mugs so much. So I set all of my mugs on my countertop to start decluttering them. So I kind of had all of them together by types. I have all my regular coffee mugs together, any fancier looking coffee mugs, and then bigger coffee mugs, taller coffee mugs, all those together, and then made decisions from there. Usually it was just whichever ones look a little bit worn, or maybe like there's no print on it anymore, or if they're chipped or whatever, made some decisions based on that. Then I started putting everything back into the cabinet. So on the lower shelf, I have my little spooky coffee ground container. I have some tea, some espresso pods, and some espresso cups. all on this little bottom area. And then the next shelf, I kind of put things on this shelf that like our favorite mugs that we use a lot. So my husband likes just the good old regular looking mug, just a normal size. I like kind of a big old mug, like something spooky, and something that's a little bit taller or wider, that can fit more creamer or milk, that kind of thing, where I can make a little latte situation. And that's kind of what I did. Oh, we're already moving on to my least favorite cabinet, which is the glass cabinet, because I'm the clumsiest person on the planet Earth. So I'm very carefully emptying this cabinet out, and this one's a little bit difficult for me because I mentioned this in my last kitchen cleaning video that my husband is in the beer and live music industry, or maybe I didn't mention it, but I think I did, because we have a lot of beer glasses, just lots of glasses for beers, all different types. And I don't drink beer since I have celiac disease, so I don't know what I'm looking at. So my husband did help me a little bit here to look at how, like, what we needed, how many we had. Like, I would think I got rid of some pint glasses. We didn't need 12 of them, but still kept enough to where different types of beer can go in their correct glass. And then also if we had family over, there were enough glasses for that kind of thing. So here I'm just wiping down my cabinets, and shout out to my rat tail. Look at that thing hanging down. My rat tail in all of its glory. So just wiping down the cabinets, touching them up, and then putting everything back. So on the lower shelf, I have some pitchers and some glass bowls, either things that are heavy or things that I use a lot. That's kind of what I put on the bottom shelf. And then on the next shelf, I have all of the beer glasses I put in here. And I try to line them up to where there would be a couple of different options for my husband to choose from, and then just kind of line them up from there. They kind of go back by style or style of glass. I don't know. I tried real hard though. All right, so then on the top shelf, I put a cake container, and then my blender pitcher thing that's really tall, and I can never find a spot for it, so it goes up there. And this is how my glass cabinet turned out. All right, so moving on to my other glassware cabinet. This one is more of like my everyday glassware cabinet where we keep water glasses, wine glasses. I also had some like Moscow Mule copper mugs in here, which I ended up moving to the other glass cabinet. I moved them over because I kind of wanted this to, I don't know, I felt like it was breaking up the aesthetic a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Why am I this way? Okay, so I just started putting the glassware back, and I kind of played around with a couple different ways I wanted the glassware, but ultimately it ended up kind of similar to before, but I also added a couple new glasses from my other glassware cabinet and took out the copper mugs. So there's the before and after, and I kind of like the look of the all glass cabinet in here. It kind of just pulls everything together, and I have some fancier glasses at the bottom. So yeah, that's how it turned out. All right, moving on to this one's pretty much already done. This is my everyday dish cabinet. So it has pots, no, not pots, plates. It has plates and bowls and some mugs, and those are more mugs that I eat cereal out of those mugs, or soup, that kind of thing. And it's kind of an all black and white aesthetic, so I'm secretly obsessed with this cabinet area. So I wiped everything down and put everything back. Some nesting bowls and some other little spooky bowls that I got around Halloween time, and then just some plain mugs mixed in with some spooky mugs, because you know I gotta make it spooky. And or they're more like large teacups is what those are. But anyways, here is what it looks like. It pretty much looks the same before and after, but it's just a little cleaner and fresher looking. All right, so moving on to this drawer next to my stove, I have some aprons, oven mitts, hot pads, a wine opener, and I went through and just started emptying everything out, and then I sucked up any dust or crumbs or whatnot with my handy dandy favorite thing ever Dyson, and then wiped everything down. And then after I wiped everything down, I started putting everything back, and I ended up putting my aprons. They were taking up a lot of space in this drawer and kind of jamming it. So I ended up putting my aprons in my pantry and hanging them up. And I was going to include my pantry in this video, but it started getting a little bit long. So I will link my pantry clean out video in the description box because I did that not too long ago. I'm sure I will do a new one here coming up, especially when I paint my pantry and stuff, but I'll link that one in the meantime. Anyways, moving on to the next drawer. This is is my utensil drawer. You're also going to see some wax cubes for my wax warmer that I ended up moving to my drawer with my oven mitts and stuff, since I had a little bit more room since I moved my apron. So here I'm just wiping down this drawer, and to get in the nooks and crannies, I like to use an old plastic fork, like something that I got when I got takeout or something like that, and then wrap my rag, my damp rag around it, and then just get into the nooks and crannies. It really helps kind of get everything out of there. And I'm also giving my utensil holders a good wash. I believe I got these ones at Target a while back. And then just touching up any little dings or chips, and then putting my organizers back into the drawer. And then I'm going to go through my utensils and declutter them. So when decluttering my cooking utensils or baking utensils, I usually think of a couple things. First of all, the last time I used them. So I do use a lot of these since I do cook a lot. Or if I need duplicates, if I have duplicates, like, do I really need this second one? For some of them I do, but for some of them I don't. And then with my spatulas, for example, I got some new spooky spatulas last year. So I retired some of the ones that I wasn't using or hadn't used. So here I'm just putting everything back, just lining up my spatulas all pretty and fancy. I don't know that they're going to stay like this, but for now they look nice and organized. And then I did the same thing with my wooden spoons. Just kind of line those up to make them look all pretty. And then my plastic utensils just kind of got thrown in there because there was no just fancy way to get them in there. But this is the before of this drawer. And here is the after, and this one felt really good because I feel like there was some actual decluttering that happened, not just some maneuvering around, which I like to do. Here I am emptying out this is like some dish towels. A lot of random things got thrown in here, not gonna lie. Some random sponges and gloves, things like that. So I'm cleaning it out and starting over. And actually a lot of my towels, my kitchen towels, were very, very old, like embarrassingly old. So I used this as an opportunity to get myself some new kitchen towels. So I did, and here I'm folding them up. And with these, I just folded each side towards the center and then folded them in half, and then I just rolled them up and lined them up in the drawer, and that is kind of what I do. Then I have a little kitchen towel drawer. I also put some Swiffer wipes in here, some sponges, a potato brush, or just like a vegetable brush, and then some like a little contraption for my blinds you'll see here coming up. All right, moving on to this is my Ziploc baggie and aluminum foil, parchment paper kind of drawer. Just taking everything out and cleaning it out, wiping it down, wiping the front of the drawer down, and then putting everything back in. And this is kind of a game of Tetris where I'm trying to find the best place to put these boxes, these little Ziploc baggy boxes, but then also have room for the foil and the parchment paper and plastic wrap, that kind of thing. And I was excited because I even had enough room to put a little roll of trash bags in here. So here is the before, and then here is the after, and I'm really excited about this one because I could barely open this drawer. It was always a fight, so I'm really excited about how this one turned out. This is another one that feels real good to the soul. Okay, moving on to my miscellaneous utensil drawer. So these are a lot of random things that I don't use every day. So things like cheese graters, tongs, whisks. I even have my beaters for my mixer. I have ice cream scoops, that kind of thing. And I'm kind of just going through everything and determining whether or not I've used things in the last couple of years or if I'm going to. And really the whole staying home thing, like this whole last year, has been great for decluttering the kitchen, because if I was going to use something, I would have probably used it in the last year since I cooked a lot at home and spent a lot of time at home. So if you're struggling to declutter things in your kitchen, that might be something to think about, since the last year, it's like if you haven't cooked with it yet or used it while you've been at home, you may not end up using it, or maybe it's something that will be used for larger gatherings like holiday meals or something like that. But otherwise, like everyday type of items, if you haven't used it yet, then you may not use it, kind of thing. So here I'm just trying to categorize things. I have all my whisks together, all my spatulas together, tongs together, ice cream scoops together, that kind of thing. And I'm putting them in these little organizers, which aren't fancy organizers. The last time I cleaned out my kitchen, I really wanted something like a place to put some of the smaller items so they didn't just get scattered all over the drawer and then they're hard to find. So I ended up using old Tupperware that didn't have a lid, which I apparently had a lot of because that is my life, or they got warped or something like that. So if you are looking for some storage solutions and you don't want to go buy anything new, So I feel like, you know, there's always that Tupperware that you can't find a lid to, or like I mentioned, it's warped or something. And they make really great little organizers. So I tried to sort them by like things, but it's not always possible. So I just try to put as many things together as possible and then just kind of sprinkled in other things in there. But they're still way easier to find because I can just grab one of these little organizers and look through it rather than have to dig through the whole drawer. So here I just put everything back, and this is kind of how it turned out. It kind of looks the same. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so the last drawer here in this little area is this, what is this? Cutting boards, rolling pins, placemats kind of drawer. And I'm just emptying everything out once again, doing the same old thing, going in, cleaning it out, wiping it down, and making sure everything is nice and dry before I put everything back in. And I ended up adding baking mats to this drawer, and my baking mats were in the drawer where my Ziploc baggies were, but I think they fit much better down here. So I put my placemats back, my cutting boards, rolling pins, and I also have a knife set I keep in here. So the before and after were pretty similar, just reorganized. It just feels so, well, and minus the random Ziploc baggie in there, but it just looks so much nicer. All right, moving on to the island area where I have some drawers and cabinets. So this drawer here is more of my everyday utensil drawer. So can opener, what else do I have? Measuring cups, measuring spoons, I keep in here. I also have a couple of knives in here. So here I'm just cleaning out my utensil holder organizer thing, and I think this is either from Target or Bed Bath & Beyond. I want to say Target. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description box, and actually I'll link as much as I can down there. So any cleaners or organizers, I'll have that linked in the description, or anything similar I can find. So here I'm just cleaning out the drawer, wiping it all down, and then filling in that little chip that I had on the little drawer there, just filling it in with my paint pen. Then I'm gonna start loading up my organizer and just trying to put things wherever I can fit them. So I have my measuring cups, I have a couple of knives and scissors on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side I have a couple of spatulas and just things like that. And don't worry, the knives have covers on them, so it's not like I'm just gonna stick my hand in there and just it's gonna be a random knife there. They do have covers, so I had to mention that. So in the front there, I'm putting an endless amount of chip clips that I got off Amazon, and I guess I didn't look to see how many came with it because there's so many chip clips. I don't even know what to do with all these. But I'll link them in the description if you need a lot of chip clips, because I always lose them, but now I will never lose them ever again. Moving on to the next drawer, this is my flatware drawer, so I'm just taking out my organizer, rinsing it out, scrubbing it up, and then I'm gonna wipe down my drawer and get that all cleaned out, and then put my organizer back into the drawer and start putting all my silverware back. And I'm lining up my flatware and just fanning it out and just being extra with it. Even though I don't do this, I usually just put my silverware in here like a normal person. But just for the sake of a fresh start, I thought I'd fan it out and make it look extra fancy. And then in that little front container, I have little baby spoons and little baby forks for getting out olives or little capers or anything like that. I use those types of things for. And then on the far right side, I have some serving spoons and things like that. Oh, and in the front, I have a little sushi mat. So that's that. Okay, moving on to my junk drawer. I love junk drawers. I feel like we had this conversation before where I asked you what was in your junk drawer. And if you want to tell me what's in your junk drawer in the comments in this one too, we can have a little fun. I love a good junk drawer, and I love knowing what's in people's junk drawers. Is that weird? I don't know if that's weird, but I don't even care. I know I'm weird. Okay, so this area is just a bunch of random stuff. I feel like that's what junk drawers are for. So that little cup thing, that's actually an old little Tupperware thing. I think it's for like salad dressing or whatever. Or for, I don't know, I guess it could be for anything. But I put keys in there, any extra keys, mailbox keys, that kind of thing. And here I'm just checking pins and dry erase markers and permanent markers to see if they still have ink in them or if they're dried out. And if they're dried out, I get rid of them. And then I'm just putting them back in this little area. And this is a lot of pencils and pens in this area, but somehow whenever I open this, there's never a pen in here. I also put some cords in there. I also have some batteries, mainly just batteries for our garage door openers or our keys, that kind of thing. I have my extra key and a flashlight in there. And we're already moving on to this thing here, which is I think it's just like a random cabinet. It's nothing special. It has my Instant Pot. I want to call it an Instapot always. Instant Pot, and then a whole lot of cookie cutters because I secretly have a thing for making fancy cookies. It's like a side hobby that I never have time to do, but I always get really excited about it. So I have a lot of cookie cutters. But I have big plans. They're basically all Halloween cookie cutters. Who am I kidding? But anyways, moving on. We are cleaning this out, putting everything back. And in the end, this ended up looking like a slightly cleaner version of what it looked like before, but that's all right. You win some, you lose some. All right, moving on to this little cabinet area. This is my casserole dish / Pyrex dishes, pie dish kind of area. And I'm just getting everything out, wiping it down. And this area needed a whole lot of TLC. I had some chipped areas. I guess I was very aggressively taking out my casserole dishes. And my cabinets were filthy. They were pretty disgusting. So I wiped them down and then touched up areas with my paint pen. And then I started putting everything back. I kind of put everything back where it was before just because it was really working for me. I had a lot of my most used Pyrex dishes on the top shelf and my casserole dishes because that's what I use the most of. And then I had my pie dishes at the bottom and some of my loaf pans and stuff I don't use as much on the bottom. Okay, next up is my small appliance cabinet. So this has my food processor, my juicer, blender, that kind of stuff is in here. So I'm taking everything out. Once again, wiping down all the cabinets and the shelves and all the stuff, getting it nice and cleaned out. And then before I put each appliance back in, I went ahead and gave them a good wipe down just so they looked nice and pretty and ready to go. And just while I was in there wiping everything down anyway. So this is one of those cabinets, once again, that looked very similar to the way it started, but just shinier. So that's how this one turned out. All right, next up is my pots and pans cabinet, but I also have some Tupperware in here, some larger Tupperware for when I make, I don't know, sometimes I'll make trail mix or I'll make like a big salad for a barbecue or something like that, or my potato salad. I'll put them in these larger Tupperware things. So I keep those back in the back a little bit. But here I'm just cleaning everything out once again, wiping down my cabinets and getting them all nice and clean, but then also touching them up a little bit with a paint pen. Just bringing my cabinets back to life is what I'm doing. Then I'm going to put everything back into my cabinets. So I kind of put the Tupperware back into the crevices of this area. And then I put all of my most used pots up top. And then I put some of my pans on the bottom. And also my larger pot is down on the bottom shelf as well. So here is the before and here is the after. The biggest difference is how shiny the cabinets look. They were in desperate need of a bath. All right, so moving on to underneath the sink area. This was a whole mess. This is always a messy area for me. I don't know why I know why I can't get it under control. I am addicted to Mrs. Meyer's. I'm officially hoarding Mrs. Meyer's underneath my sink, which in hindsight, I'm glad I did because I haven't really been able to find it anywhere. It's like disappeared since the pandemic. So here I'm putting everything back and I have these acrylic drawers where I keep some magic erasers and sponges and also sink accessories like drain plugs, that kind of thing. And then I also have a little container full of garbage disposal cleaner. And then here I'm just lining up my Mrs. Meyer's. So I have all my all-purpose sprays and my, what are those, dish soap and some hand soap. Oh, it's a problem. It's a problem. And then I'm just organizing it, lining it up, and then putting everything back, just other random cleaning supplies. And I'm just having a shame spiral right now over that Mrs. Meyer's. But here I'm just wiping down cabinets, so there we go. All right, so here is the before. What a mess. Where's the after? Oh, okay. So here's the after. I have, what is that? Also a little fire extinguisher in there. You never know. Okay, so moving on to my Tupperware cabinet. I had recently gotten some new Tupperware and hadn't had a chance to put the lids on. So I just took all the Tupperware out of the cabinet, wiped it down, and then started sorting through my Tupperware. And when sorting through Tupperware, I always look to see if something has a lid or if it's damaged or really stained beyond repair. And typically I'll try to reuse anything that doesn't have a lid and use it as a storage solution or like a little organization solution somewhere. But here what I'm mainly doing is putting all the lids on my new Tupperware, and I like to store all my Tupperware with the lids on because it's really helpful, so I don't have to go searching for lids. Even when lids are organized, I'm terrible at looking for lids. So I keep all the lids on, and then to create some space, I'll store the little Tupperware and the larger Tupperware. How many times can I say Tupperware? But I store the smaller Tupperware and the larger Tupperware I don't use as often. So like the larger Glad ones I don't use as often. So I'll put them in there, and then I put all of my plastic Tupperware on the top shelf, and then all of my glass Tupperware on the bottom shelf. And here is the before and then the after. This is another one that felt really good. All right, so now that all the drawers and cabinets have been decluttered and organized, we still have a full kitchen to clean. So it is now time for the cleaning portion of this video. And I'm starting off by giving the top cabinets one final wipe down. And if you're like, Ghoul, didn't you do that when you cleaned out the cabinets? And the answer is yes, I did. But I did this over the course of a couple days. So I wanted to give it one last final little scrub down with, once again, just a damp cloth with some Dawn dish soap, and then dried it off just to have everything look nice and clean and polished and just everything looking refreshed. Also in case I missed some fingerprints or something like that. All right, so here I'm just clearing off all the countertops to prepare them to be wiped down. Well, not just wiped down, we're doing some scrubbing and deep cleaning here. So getting everything off of that. And also I'm going to get started on the microwave. I have 2 cups of water and 2 tablespoons of white vinegar in a measuring cup or microwave safe bowl. And then I pop it in the microwave for 5 minutes. And then I let it sit for a couple minutes after, just so the steam can really work in there, and it will break up any disgusting stuff sticking to the sides of your microwave and make it so much easier to wipe down later. And here, while the microwave is going, I'm just wiping down the outside of my drawers and my cabinets by my sink. And then once that is done, I go in with, this is the Sponge Daddy. This thing has changed my life. You know you're getting younger when a sponge changes your life. No, seriously though, the sponge, it's got this rough side. That's the part of the sponge that I can't get over. It's this rough side, and it's like magic. It gets everything off of everything, but it doesn't scratch anything. Anyways, if you've tried the Sponge Daddy or the Scrub Daddy, let me know in the comments so we can geek out about it. Or if you haven't tried it, you just got to try it and then we can geek out about it. Okay. Anyways, I'm spraying down one more time, this microwave. I don't even know what language that just was, but it doesn't matter. I'm spraying it down with this water and vinegar mixture. It's about, if you have a spray bottle, 1/3 of the way filled with vinegar, the rest with water. Sprayed it down, wiped it down. Also sprayed the door, wiped that down. I like using non-chemicals in the microwave just because I cook food in it and it just makes me feel better. But vinegar and water in general, anywhere that has a shiny surface like this, it's magic. It just looked like a whole new microwave, I'm not gonna lie. So here I'm just cleaning the big awkward plate that goes in there and putting it back in, and then I'm spraying the outside of the microwave with the vinegar and water mixture and wiping that down. Next, I'm grabbing these little vent things from underneath my microwave. It's for the fan underneath there, and it is disgusting. I feel like I just cleaned these, but I guess not. I'm putting them in a glass dish with some Dawn dish soap and then filling it up with water, and I'm letting that sit there for a while. I mean, it sat there for a couple hours probably, but then you'll see what happens later. Okay, then I'm going in with this stuff. This is another new thing that I'm obsessed with. This is the Mr. Clean Clean Freak Deep Cleaning Spray. I think is what it's called, or mist. I'm obsessed with this. I'm cleaning my backsplash with it. I'll talk more about this here in a second. But first, I'm telling you what I'm doing. So I'm cleaning the backsplash and wiping that down. But some of the areas on the grout were pretty gross and grimy. So I use this toilet bowl cleaner that has bleach in it, and I direct the nozzle onto the grout lines and just squeeze the bottle, and it goes right into the grout line. And then I go in with a little toothbrush and kind of scrub it. I try to be very careful with using bleach on grout because I know it can break down the grout. So I make sure I do seal it, but my grout, I think the sealant had kind of worn off. So it had gotten a little grimy. So I did use it this time, but I just need to reseal my grout. Also, really quickly, I've only used that toilet bowl cleaner on grout. So just so you know, there's no poo-poo particles on there. I just wanted to be clear there. Okay, moving on to my stove. So here I'm going in and taking off the knobs on my stove and wiping it down and getting under there. It gets so gross under those knobs. I always forget to do that, but it gets so gross. I should probably do that more often. Anyways, I wipe down the knobs too and put those back on. Oh gosh, this part's disgusting. Wait, just wait till you see it. Oh God, nope. Okay, first of all, I use the deep cleaning spray on this. I have washed under here before. I'm telling you I have. And it gets, it's kind of gross, but it never fully gets cleaned, and then I cook again, all that kind of stuff. It's like caked on. This deep cleaning spray gets it all off. I swear, if you've been around here, I'm a Mrs. Meyer's, ride or die, love her to death. But I like Mrs. Meyer's for more everyday, where it's not necessary to get it like a deep clean going, But when it's like a deep clean, I'm really wanting to get in there. This stuff, I'm so obsessed with it. It's on everything. It's amazing. It's great on stainless steel. It makes it shine. It's beautiful. It's amazing on my glass top. It makes my, oh my gosh, my countertops. It's not streaky. I don't even know what this is, but it's magic. Also in the little crevices between my stove and my countertops, I use a little toothpick thing and get down there and scrape it. Also, a knife could work just to get all the gross stuff that gets in between there. Just throwing out a couple of things that I do out there. Anyways, just wiping this down. This is all with that deep cleaning spray. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with that. I love using more natural products, but sometimes you gotta break out the big guns. You just gotta get it out and get down there and get it clean. But usually I try to stick to natural products, but man, this one is making it hard. All right, so here I'm just going through and wiping down the cabinets next to the stove, just getting them all cleaned off, wiped down, looking nice and shiny. And then I'm gonna go in and spray down the oven and wipe down the front of the oven. And the inside of the oven, I just use the self-cleaner or whatever it is, the button that self-cleans. It basically gets so hot it scorches your soul. But it's like negative 500 out where I'm at right now. No, it's seriously like -2 outside right now, I think. So it actually really helped with the heat situation in my house. So I'm glad. I usually do this in the spring, and I don't know why. February is a perfect time because it's not quite spring, but it also seems to be the coldest month ever. All right, so now I'm just putting back my small appliances or whatever was on my countertop area on this side of my kitchen. On the other side of my sink, we'll work on that area next. So I have my air fryer. I have my little Amazon. What is that? I can't remember which one it is. It's not the Echo, or is it the Echo Show? I don't know. Either way. And then my espresso machine, my coffee machine, gave everything a nice little wipe down. Also my Jonathan Adler canisters, just wiped everything down. Next, moving on to my sink area, and to the left of my sink, I am getting my blinds cleaned off with this little contraption I got off Amazon. I will definitely link this in the description because I highly recommend it. This was really fun. I'm down for any cleaning activity that is also fun. So between this and that Sponge Daddy thing, and the cleaning mist, I don't know. I'm all about it. Okay, so here I'm using some vinegar and water, like a little vinegar and water mixture like I used in my microwave earlier. I love vinegar and water mixtures for any sort of glass, mirrors, that kind of thing. It just makes it really shiny. If it looks freezing out there, it really was. I was wearing long underwear under everything I wore in this video. Anyway, so here I'm just wiping down my windowsill, the backsplash on the left side of my sink, light switches, and the backsplash and grout in this area doesn't get bad since there's no cooking things happening in this area, so I just wipe it down. Also, side note, this thing is so fun to spray. There's like a pressure behind it or something. I can't quite explain it. I don't know if you know me, you know when I get obsessed with things, I can't stop talking about them. It's like my Dyson vacuum and everything else. Shutter, whatever. But you guys, look at that countertop shine. Unbelievable to me. Okay, also that grout line back there that looks extra just like weird or gapped. I have to, excuse my French, do some caulking in that area. So that's why it's like that. I'm going to do that this week. So I went ahead and started already getting that grout, like breaking it off and kind of getting it out of there. Anyways, so I'm putting back my Aero Garden, some canisters, and I have my little hand washing station thing and my paper towels and some succulents. And okay, you know those vents we were soaking earlier? Look at that. That's no scrubbing, nothing, just Dawn dish soap, just soaking it in Dawn dish soap and water. Seriously, magic. Okay. Then I'm spraying that deep cleaning spray in my sink and going in with my Sponge Daddy sponge and just getting it all scrubbed and clean. And the sink, cleaning a sink and having a fresh, shiny sink is like, there's something about it. It's like, it just makes my soul so happy. Just wiping it down, drying it off. I love a shiny sink. All right, moving on to the island. Just spraying down the island and wiping it off or wait, no, we're going in with the sponge first. Oh yeah, because I had some things crusted on. That is typical. Just a crusty island. Let me know if you also have a crusty island in the comments. No. We're getting weird now because we're getting towards the end. We're going to wipe this off and you can see it once again how it shines. It's like reflecting the lights in the ceiling. You can see it almost like it's a light itself, like a light in the island. It's so shiny. Also using this stuff on my dishwasher so you can see what it looks like on some stainless steel, but it is just a whole, like there was like water stains on that. Nope. It's all gone. Okay, so now we're moving on to floors, taking everything off my floors, my rugs, my dog's water bowl, and I'm going to start going to town on the floorboard. So I've got my Dyson handheld, my brush attachment, and I'm going in and getting into those floorboards and just getting any crumbs, crusties, dust, anything that's under there, dog hair, getting it all out of there. And then I'm going in with a damp rag and going in and wiping down the floorboards and also anywhere around the floorboards, like on the floor. If there's anything there, like any spots or anything where a mop might miss it, I will go ahead and just scrub that area and get it all off. Then I'm going in with just the regular vacuum attachment on the Love of My Life, aka my Dyson vacuum, and vacuuming the floor area of my kitchen. And then I'm going to go in and start mopping, and I use the Method Squirt and Mop. I love this stuff. It smells so good. It's an almond scent and it makes your whole house smell like almond. It is, even if it, I mean, it does a pretty good job. I think it does, but even if it didn't, the smell is just so good. I can't pass it up. And yes, my mop has a squirt thing on it, but I think it worked once and then it broke. So I just use the squirt mop bottle and it works perfectly. Just getting everything all cleaned up. Oh, then I'm putting back my stools and that is it. I have a little before and after I'm going to show you. So here's during the process. And then here is after. So I'm going to continue to show you some before and after shots of some of the drawers and cabinets, what we did. But oh my gosh, it feels so good to have that done, a good old deep clean. So thank you so much for cleaning with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up, say hey ghoul hey down in the comments because you know I love talking to you. And yeah, let me know any areas you're organizing or deep cleaning right now or anything else you wanted to respond to in this video we can chit chat in the comments about. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys next time.